Good morning, good evening, good night. This is Mama T talking sharp after dark. Hello, fam. Okay, so yeah, I've been following, I've been watching just like any and everybody else have, and I'm telling you guys that I am filled with more questions, more than a little bit, and I don't understand why we are here still. Excuse me, guys. Um, Nolan Wells, rest in peace. And I pray for the family, mom and dad, children, family, friends, and all. Um, this family needs closure, y'all. Truly, this family needs closure. I don't know how long, and I'm not quite sure why. I can speculate, I can, but choose not to. I have so many questions and no answers, and I guess some could say, well, it's not up to you. No, well, I feel like Nolan could be my son. That's how I feel. He's a human being, and he could be my child, And if I was, thank God that I'm not, but if I was in the shoes of this mom, I would want every answer too, and I would go to the end of the earth to get those answers because I would want some closure. No, it's not going to bring Nolan back, but what it is going to do is help find peace within and to understand why, if you can, and to help heal afterwards. If there's a such thing, no one knows until you go on that path. So I'm watching various videos, y'all, and everyone is pretty much saying the same thing, which we all are clear that there are some things that are missing. There are things that doesn't sound right, and you know, with questions, now you got to be careful how to question because people want to come after you in certain aspects because you have an opinion, or because you have a thought, or because you have a feeling, or because you have a hunch. Whatever it is that you would like to call it, just because you have. And to me, it makes it sound like as if they want, and when I say that, I'm talking about the leprechauns. Yes, I am. They want everyone to hush, let it die down, like every other case that has questions and it did not reach to this level of the media um, worldwide because everyone is following this, I believe. Right? So when I say this is my opinion, these are my opinions, but I have questions. And one of the questions is, like I always said before, mother to mother, one of the young men of the friends that they say they are the friends. Best friends is what they said. Let me quote correctly. One of them have a mother that is a judge, and she did text um, Christine, and she said, when and if, when or if you want to talk, here is my number. This woman, Christine, beautiful person, just lost a child, and another mother that child has been into that home, and that's how you text. Wow, amazing. Woman to woman, mother to mother. I'm not quite sure if I would answer to that, but it's very telling. It leaves an eyebrow raised, and it makes you wonder why would any person will text in that manner to another woman that is grieving of losing their child. Why? Why would you do that? What is that about? Why were the young people that was also on the boat with Nolan or lashing out at Nolan's family? Why? Why would you do that? She's mourning. Why would these young men be on an interview with a big leprechaun and say things like there was 15 to 20 or 30, I don't know how many young adults. So they had to go get an extra boat. So now we're talking about 3 or 4 boats, but we're only talking about one particular boat. So when you guys left, everyone on all the other 3, 4 boats left too, or just that boat left? These are questions that I have in my mind. And because they putting it out there, so I have a right to have a question like that. It doesn't sound right. Am I tripping? But it really truly doesn't sound right. It's like something is missing from the equation, and I don't know why. And it's like, why are you saying certain things that you're saying? And the body language. Oh boy, the body language is a killer. It doesn't even make any sense. Um, these are young folks, so maybe I remember being young. We think that the world is in the palm of our hands, and we can be as witty as we would like, and no one would know the difference. And I hate to tell young folks, especially for us older folks, been there, done that before. So when you think you can outwit one, you can't outwit all. And like most people say, um, I wasn't born yesterday. So there are things that just don't sound right, and it just don't make sense, and it leaves more questions to the answers that you are given. Um, and these young folks, to me, are very disrespectful, and they're talking about Nolan's parents. And the reason why I say parents is because there were two, mother and dad, right? But they are attacking the mom when there's a dad involved, right? They're not saying much about the dad, but they're saying a whole lot about the mom. So it's disrespectful to both because he is a grown man, and he got to hear, if they watching any of the videos, that these young folks are disrespectful to his wife. And if you really truly love Nolan, and I'm talking to these young folks here, because apparently somebody didn't teach the rules of the writing on the walls about how to interact with an adult when you are not yet totally an adult. Certain things that you should and should not be saying and talking at them. Should not. And I wish one of my kids' friends would disrespect me. Because the only thing is telling me that how you will disrespect my children and you call yourself friends. Those are not your friends. Because friends don't do that. And I have children, and my children's friends give me the utmost respect. And as they should. And my children, when they go to their friend's home and they dealing with their friend's parents, they give them the utmost respect. And maybe you guys didn't learn the writing on the wall growing up. I don't know, because we all are not raised the same, as we can tell. And so when I watch this, my stomach turned. It's like, are you kidding me? Are you truly killing me? You gonna talk to or about someone's parent in this manner, like as if she's equal to you? She's a grown ass woman. She's an adult, and she's grieving over her missing child. And if your parent was grieving over you, your parent will probably be doing the same thing in the search to find out why and what happened. So how dare you, little leprechauns, to disrespect this mother and father in the way that you guys are? And you sitting there in an interview with the doggone biggest leprechaun of all of them. Matter of fact, let me just take you back for a second, guys. Close your eyes if you can. Close your eyes. Imagine what it looks like. You know what a leprechaun look like? Put that image in your head. Now remember when you was watching movies or TV or any little episode about a leprechaun. What was their characteristic? What was they aiming for? What will they do to get it? How strong they were in the trickery. How devilish they were to get to what they want. Imagine that feeling. Can you see it? Now open your eyes. That's what I'm talking about right here. We got a lot of leprechauns that's been around from many, 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 many years. And there's a lot of tricksters in their characteristics, all for the pot of gold. Because that's basically what it's for. You want to diminish people so you can be on top. You want to do this so you can have more money. You want to do this so you can be the one. All for the pot of gold. Leprechauns. And you will do anything necessary to get to that. So now, let's place that in these situations that we're watching about Nolan Wells and all the other people that have been unalived and no longer here. We done had a couple of more situations, even in the state of North Carolina. One was last week, and I've heard there's another one just yesterday. And if I'm correct, was it in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina? Really? Yeah, let's watch a little bit and listen closely. One thing I gotta say before I even click on this, okay, guys? You gotta give it to these leprechauns that they band together and they hold secret to the heart. We as black folks, we need to learn that art. And we need to truly band together and stop fighting one another. Truly. And I get it, I get it. Not all skin folk is kinfolk. I get it. But for all the ones that within skin folk that are kinfolk, we need to band together because we're losing our people rapidly for no darn reason. Maybe the leprechauns might could tell you what the reasons are, but it doesn't make sense, guys. And it's sad. And I know in this world today, it's 2026, and just maybe these things must happen. Unfortunately, we're in the age of Aquarian right about now, and things got to get worse before it gets better because the tipping pot is tipping and it's spilling over. And so much hate and division has been so much for so many years that we're at that point where karma is about to meet everything. So hold on tight, buckle up, have your faith on strong, and believe that we all came from one source, the creator of all creations. We all came from that. All of us. Guys, you gotta understand that. That is the most truth of all. So imagine this before I click on so we can see what this guy got to say here. Okay? Imagine you got a couple of children, right? You're a parent. Okay. So imagine you got some kids and one of your children hurt really bad another one of your children. What would you say to your child that hurt the child that also belongs to you? You will look at that child and say, my child, why? Why would you do that to my child? I love you no more than I love that child. I love that child no more than I love you. Right? So imagine what source, our creator, God, whatever you want to call it, is saying to us. Why? Why do you want to play the spirit of the leprechaun? Why is it that you choose to go for evil than for good? Why? Hold that thought.
This.
You have no idea who you're dealing with.
Any corruption and cover up starts with your connections.
Ocean Springs is going to have Ocean Springs back.
And guess
Did you hear that? Did y'all hear that? Spring's gonna have springs back. What does that mean? Buckle up, y'all.
It's what town the DA lives in, Ocean Springs.
I understand the public's urgency to know what happened to Nolan, but we are not taking time for time's sake.
The Mississippi Rising Coalition recently posted this with questions on Facebook for the DA. One question: does the DA have any personal relationships with the friend's parents? And the second one, because she's involved in a lot of these local women's groups, even women's Republican groups, does she have any connection with Judge Ashley Cole? And would that be a conflict of interest? And asking if she should recuse herself from an investigation involving a child of one of her professional colleagues.
Nolan Wells, the blackout in Gary, Indiana, public lynchings of Black people. What do those three things have in common? All of these were stories that the mainstream news media did not report until we started making them trend on social media. And by we, I mean Black folks. I'm talking about us. Sorry if you're not tribe. I'd be jealous if I were you, but that's not the point of this conversation. The point of this conversation is this. We know that the algorithms are trash. We know that the algorithm is built against us and people who talk about what we talk about. We know that these algorithms and these platforms are controlled by billionaires who want to control us. And we have more power than we think. So when we decide to get in unison, be one band, one sound, we can actually dictate the terms of the news instead of the news dictating the terms to us. Never ever forget your power and keep on saying the names. And make sure that you're subscribed to Black-owned media, independent media, Joy Reid, Roland Martin, Don Lemon, The Root, The Griot. They are telling our stories responsibly, with care, and with truth. All right?
Like I said before, we need to start banding together more. This sister right here is so accurate. She is right on point. I totally agree with her. 100%. Guys, we got to start banding together. We have to be in sync. We must be in sync for our lives' sake. Do y'all understand that? We got to stop living in the la la land. And our young folks, pay attention. Listen to your OGs. Because they're only trying to do is help you, protect you, guard you. Because we don't want no harm coming to you guys. And vice versa. Because it can happen to anyone. Right? Guys, life is too short. When are we going to wake up and realize that we really got to start banding together and looking out for each other and being there for each other? When? How far we got to go? Because it's more to come. If y'all don't get it together now, if we don't get it together now, if we don't get it together right now, it's more to come. I don't want to see another baby, and they saying self-deflate. Whether it's water or it's rope. I'm sick of it, man. You young folks are our future. And we got to look out for each other. We got to be there for each other. And we have to educate one another and stop putting down each other. We're all we got. Can't y'all see that? But just listen.
We ain't got to pay attention to the people. We got our own.
Now, before I show you more of what TikTok users are pulling apart on this case, I want to ask you something. With the way the officers in charge have handled this investigation, what is the one word you would use for it? Fair? Partial? Something else entirely? Drop that word in the comments. Because a woman has now come forward saying she sat on a boat and watched Nolan Wells get jumped over his phone. She says she heard him screaming for it back and that it carried on after they reached the shore. And the man who has spent 6 weeks on national television speaking for those boys sat down with Nancy Grace and told her he has never heard of any altercation from anybody.
And before we go there to the leprechaun, yeah, that's what I call it. I gave you the definition. I gave you the vision. of what and why I considered labeling leprechauns. I want y'all to listen because this is a true fact here. What happened and how people backtrack, and you can just look and see. And it makes me wonder what's wrong with this person? What happened? Because why? For the love of apples, why would you be on this end of the stick? I'm it doesn't make sense, but to each his own, right? And I'm glad now we know what this person stands for. Leprechaun, check it out.
Except he has already gone on camera and said the opposite of what he has been telling everybody. I can bet you are going to be surprised when you hear it. And when he said it, he put a clock on it, a little before 6 in the evening. Hold on to that time, 6 in the evening, because GPS records say that boat pulled off Horn Island at 4:31, and there were still around 300 people out on that island. So 6 o'clock does not empty the picture, it changes who is standing in it.
Nolan Wells' case seems to be taking a backwards paddle. That's right. All of a sudden, a new witness have come forward. And what she had to say takes us back to the beginning. And we're about to get into it. But before we get into it, I need you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so that you're alerted the next time I upload a new video. Remember, we talked about Katie in the beginning. This witness is bringing information that just may blow your mind. Let's talk about it. In the beginning of the Nolan Wells case, Warren sat down with Officer Tatum and stated that Nolan stayed back on the island with Katie. Then later on, more information came out stating that there was an altercation on the island, but the boys swore that that was not Nolan. Now we have a witness coming out and stating that she saw Nolan Wells get into an altercation over his phone on the island. Thanks to Secret Service Sam, he gave us an update regarding this. Take a look at this clip.
I've not spoken publicly about this before, but I witnessed an altercation involving Nolan Wells from a boat nearby. What I saw has stayed with me, and I believe it's important information. I have provided or intend to provide my account to the appropriate investigators because Nolan's family deserves the truth. Out of respect for the ongoing investigation, I won't speculate beyond what I personally observed. While I was on the boat near the area, I witnessed an altercation involving Nolan Wells and several other individuals. I saw what appeared to be an argument that escalated after there was a dispute involving Nolan's phone. I heard Nolan yelling for his phone to be returned. The argument continued after the group reached shore, and I observed a physical fight involving Nolan and multiple people. I also observed a young woman telling them to stop. At that point, I left the area because the situation had appeared to be getting worse. I did not remain long enough to witness what happened afterward. Everything beyond what I personally observed would be speculation, so I cannot honestly say what occurred after I left. Then she said she messaged one of the individuals that she saw, hey, I just want to say I was a passenger on another boat and I saw the argument between you guys and we'll go to the police with this information. I also have video footage. My husband doesn't show much, but it shows the argument that was taken and how you guys were upset at Nolan because of the young lady.
Or could this account be correct and accurate? That's what we need to find out.
I don't know.
But remember, the attorney make a statement and say that someone saw Nolan Wells in an altercation at approximately 6 p.m. and that was after the boys had left. Now, the timeline on this altercation that the new witness is stating, or is this one of the witnesses? We don't know the timeline because she didn't give it in this quote unquote confession, I want to say. But
Right.
nevertheless, they wanted to say Nolan Wells wasn't involved in that altercation. However, we had other statements come out and said Nolan Wells was involved and it was over the phone and it was regarding Katie. And all of a sudden, Katie disappeared.
Right.
Now we have lioness Brandon Tatum
Leprechaun.
sitting down with Nancy Grace, giving a whole different account. This man is going
Leprechaun.
to hell with gasoline draws on. But
Leprechaun.
listen to what he had to say on Nancy Grace
Leprechaun.
yesterday.
Partier at Horn Island, that is significant. It could prove or disprove your friend's timeline.
Well, Nancy, I think that it's a big obstacle to climb here because I've never heard of this altercation whatsoever. Nobody that I've talked to have alluded that this altercation was real. And also Katie, whom I saw her text messages, she didn't even say this altercation occurred. What I will say is that if I was an
Lying.
investigator in this investigation, I want to hear that. I want to be able to compare that information to other things that we may have or other witness statements. But I don't think it's significant because it doesn't show if Nolan Wells was actually killed in that altercation. She's claiming that there was an altercation between him arguing with somebody else. There was a potential fight, but that doesn't get me to how did he drown? How did he get in the water? And how did he not recover and come home to his family? So I would take that into consideration. I would compare that to the other interviews that I've done, but I don't think it's significant whatsoever. However, I would be incredibly skeptical because there's no other statements that I've heard from anybody that comes even close to an altercation with Nolan Wells and others over a girl.
Now, we all know Officer Tatum is a big liar because he's
Leprechaun.
going to hell with gasoline draws on. Okay. But either he's trying to save face, covering for the boys, or being paid to lie. We all know, or speculations is out there that he's in some type of arrangement because you see his bourbon sitting behind the attorney and all of that extra stuff.
Yep.
So we know he's tied into these people.
Right.
But the clip I'm about to show you, this man just sat there and told Nancy Grace he never heard of it.
Right.
But here is a clip of this man stating that someone DM'd him this very conversation that we just heard. And he didn't know the time. Then he started talking about 6 p.m. How you go from you don't know the time that they saw this, but it was at 6 p.m. in the end. This man, this whole case, this cover up is so unreal. But we all know why. Take a look at this clip.
And before we take a look at this clip, right? And this woman right here, she magnificent. She's on point. Guys, you gotta follow her. She's on point. She's on point. 200%. This leprechaun that's getting ready to start talking. Tricksters. He wants to put us black folks on a wild goose chase. And for all we know, this could help his pod to revenue more money. Who knows? I know he's apparently advocating bourbon, like she said. And if you watch the lawyer that is representing these young men, bourbon is sitting right at the back of him on his, I do believe, right side of his body, sitting on a table. And when you pull it up, the name of it, and see who's sponsoring it, you'll see that it is the leprechaun. Amazing. It's amazing. So to me, it seems like it's all about money here. Of all people, these young people found you and wanted to go to your pod to be interviewed. Amazing. How did they find you? Because watching all these videos, I'm finding out that there's a lot of connections going on. A lot of connections. You was very close to Kirk. What's his name? Can't even think of it. Yeah, that guy. Unfortunately, he passed on. Um, no one commends anyone that does something good, does something bad, I'm sorry, by taking another life. Should not be. But he's too close. Oh, I guess maybe because this leprechaun is a Republican, maybe he is. He might be. So all his connections is all intertwined into that, I do believe. Yeah, so I guess maybe it was easy to pick him, and he fly on down there and did these interviews, and to me it just made matters worse instead of better because to get these young folks to talk, now we have the right to question the answers that they are given. And then this leprechaun wanted to decide to throw in his own little punchline, and like as if he's throwing a bait out there, and everybody's supposed to, run all over that and deal with that and miss the real purpose of this conversation is what happened to Nolan Wells. What truly happened? The young man was face down, not in the water, but on the sand. What happened? They found him on the 6th, but his family, his dad, was out there on the 5th. They were out there partying and celebrating on the 4th. And according to, if you Google this, guys, all you got to do is Google it and say, what happened if a person end up unfortunately drowning? How many days does it take to surface back up? And they will tell you according to the water temperature, because the acid and the bubbles within the body will have the body to float back up within 3 days. And that means if the water is really, really, really warm, 3 days. Right? So, if he wasn't out there on the 5th in the water, how did he pop up on the 6th? That's another one of my questions. And if the water pushed him up and out, he just landed on the sand. That's how that go? Or wouldn't he still be in the water? When they found him, was his trunks dry or was they wet? These are my questions. Why was he face down and not face up? Yeah. Listen to this leprechaun. Listen, family.
Received a DM from someone DMing another person. Now I'm trying to leave these names out because I want to not mess this investigation up. I think law enforcement already have this. That alluded to the fact that, and I messaged this person because I want to talk directly to the person that I saw the DM from, and we haven't talked to this person yet. But the person said in the DM to another kid that is associated, not any of the kids that I interviewed to talk to, but that could be associated to some degree, that knew Nolan, that this person wrote a message saying, me and my husband saw you arguing with Nolan, and to the effect of you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. Now, the person did not say they saw a physical altercation. The person did not say what time they saw Nolan and this other person getting into an argument. Now, this is after Warren, their boat left. This may be somewhere around a little bit before 6. What?
But prior, he said he never heard no such thing. But here in this segment, where he's talking to the camera himself, he is saying he received this DM from a person, another kid, not from the ones that he interviewed, but something like an associate. Do y'all hear the trickery? Remember when I asked you guys, close your eyes, think of what a leprechaun looked like and the characteristics of a leprechaun? Please, by all means. Y'all don't hear it? All this is game, because what's the purpose of this leprechaun to be sitting up there putting this on social media for him to get what? More views? More clicks? To help who? For what reason? Trust me, he has a sick, twisted way. At the end of the day, in your heart and mind and soul, you gotta know that this ain't right. Why would you do that? Why would you spread a rumor and you don't even have facts? Leprechaun, what game are you playing? How much are you getting up out of this? What's really the deal? And then look at him. You punk panty wearing. Yeah, let me let you finish watching.
I'm thinking at this point, with all that has been said, is that somebody knows exactly what happened to Nolan, or they saw him right before he died. I am not convinced that Nolan was just out there and drowned. The unsurmountable
Now he's not convinced that he has not up and drowned, but yet he the one spreading all the other news, the drama, the bull crap. Do it make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. And I don't care what anybody say. He's a leprechaun, and you doing this for what reason? This is a human being that has passed on, has lost his life, and no one has the reason to why, and we don't have the truth to what really happened. And you're playing games with throwing out false narrative. You're playing games with spreading rumors, which are lies. And you probably made up the DM your damn self. Leprechaun. But listen to this beautiful young lady.
amount of cover up in this case shows us, proves nothing but guilt surrounding those boys, in my opinion. This is absolutely ridiculous how they're stringing along these parents who just wants answers. The DA constantly trying to flip the script when she's unable to, because it always come back to backfire. She's debunked every time. No one should be above the law. This here shows us proof that these people think they're above the law, in my opinion.
I agree with her. There's no other way to sugarcoat it. There's no other way to think about it. When you see it right in your face, broad daylight, and the ongoing madness that is continuing to go on. Like, let me ask you a question. So, if everything they have right now, which are the autopsy, toxicology, everything is ready. So, how long does it take to get the grand jury? And then, how long is it going to take for us to find out who's on the grand? Or are we going to find that out? Or is that going to be a secret? Because that's the next game that leprechauns like to play. And because they have been utilizing the system so well for so long, they know how to manipulate any and everything. So this is another reason why I say we as a people need to band together more seriously. And we need not to attack things one at a time. We need to attack it all at the same time. We have more than enough people within our culture, within our race, to have the most elite people, the smartest people, to tackle the politics and so forth like that. To the people that's on ground that can handle on ground situations, if you know what I mean. And we need to attack it all the way across the board, because enough is enough. The drama has begun more and more each day. And this is only 2026 and we're in the 8th month. and it is getting worse. We done had more unalive situations that we can't even count for. There are so many parents that is out here devastated over the loss, and we never got true answers until some years, maybe decades later. Should not be. Should not be. And I sincerely suggest that we as a people to start attacking the system. It needs to be dismantled, and it needs to be put back together for everyone. Because it sure not have been for us. And enough is enough. We are not living the Martin Luther King era, the Malcolm X era. We are not. No, we are not. We need to band together and get serious. That's my stance. This is Mama T talking. Talking sharp after dark. And that's my 10 toes, and it is totally down. I hope you understand. If not, like, subscribe. Anyway, leave a comment if you dare. Let's talk about it. But for my people, let's be about it. Because it's time.